Welcome to the war, brave heroes. I'm General Ash, this is HeroQuest, and this is Mighty Empires, a Games Workshop gem from 1990 for 2 to 3 players ages 14 and up, and a game that I made a lot of assumptions about, so I'm here to set the record straight. With a box cover that has to be somewhere in the top 10 of all board games ever, The Battle of Issus, credited to an Albrecht Altdorfer, featuring an extremely complex painting of a Warhammer Fantasy Battles battle in progress. It is probably the ultimate ambition of every accomplished Warhammer player to take part in a large, well-organized campaign. If this and/or sweeping conflict and dark intrigue in the Warhammer world seem like the appeal to you, then this might be the game you need at your table. There is a more contemporary version of this game, but it is not this all-in-one box set that you see. We'll get to that shortly. Assumption number 1. I thought Mighty Empires would come in a huge box. For some reason, I thought it should take up as much space as Battle Masters, but no. This is the box size standard set by games like Advanced HeroQuest, a box size that Games Workshop would continue to use, at least up until Warhammer Quest 1995, before the boxes got a little bit longer for the more contemporary versions of Warhammer Quest. I believe Talisman's 3rd edition uses this exact box size as well. It's not important in the slightest, but it does mean it will look very good and uniform on a shelf with those other games. Mighty Empires is a strategic-level Warhammer Fantasy game with the players as rulers of powerful nations. The game system has been designed as a self-contained board war game for 2 to 3 players, although by making or purchasing extra tiles and/or playing pieces, Mighty Empires can be expanded to accommodate as many players as you like. This kind of game will typically take 1 or 2 evenings to complete. Owners of armies of Citadel miniatures can use Mighty Empires in conjunction with the Warhammer Fantasy Battle rules, including Warhammer Armies and/or Warhammer Siege. This channel is not for Warhammer Fantasy Battles. The most I'll do is skirmishing in Warhammer Underworlds, but there's a lot going on in this game that I really like, and for it to be self-contained as it is, and not have the dense rule sets of a Warhammer Fantasy Battles campaign boxed set, I do think it will fit very well on my shelves and in my potential games that I will play once I get friends list. Here's the barcode for those who need it, along with the address of Games Workshop, the classic Chewton Street, only available on Tuesdays in it. The very astute of you will have noticed there are miniatures with this game, but they are miniatures of entire strongholds, fortresses, cities. We have a few dragons, we have mini dragons, and we have ships for naval warfare, which has quite the presence, as there is an abundant presence of water on which to do battle. In Mighty Empires, players lead armies in ferocious battle, cities are laid waste, fortresses besieged and brought low, and unknown territories explored. The ultimate objective is to destroy your enemies and expand your empire to cover the entire world. But diplomacy and intrigue play an important part too. Secret agents, spies, assassins, and saboteurs can be dispatched to root out secrets and wreak havoc from within the enemy's homelands. But the toughest decisions revolve around army deployment. How will you divide your forces? Will you concentrate them in one huge army with a few warbands as decoys, or will you split your forces more evenly? And what about provisions? If your territory can't support your troops, the only choice is between conquest and starvation. Enough intro, let's get to opening the box. We'll open it part way so that I can show you the awesome games on display at about the same time this game was released. We have Space Hulk, Deathwing, and Genestealer expansions, Space Marine, Warhammer 40k, The Realm of Chaos, Slaves to Darkness, and The Lost and the Damned, still in 40k if that wasn't clear. White Dwarf, not to be confused with the sci-fi British comedy Red Dwarf, and not to be confused with the White Dwarf named Red Green. Blood Bowl star players, Dungeon Bowl, give me a break already. Companion, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Why didn't Warhammer ever do golf? A beautiful bevy of Warhammer novels, although these are the editions that have the covers that I don't prefer. Warhammer 40k and Dark Future, Citadel paint sets, and Advanced HeroQuest. Assumption number 2. The game would be too rules-heavy and warlike for me to want to learn, let alone play. This one's kind of subjective. The rulebook is pretty dense, featuring enough beautiful artwork to keep you reading, and there is a lot to take in. However, it's a lot of information that's well organized, and it is set up in phases, with information across the different phases, including the setup portion of the game being very exhaustive and giving you plenty of examples so that you do things right. And I say that because pages 4 through 12 are all about how to set up the hex grid map, which you will do in a take-turns modular fashion, using the provided hex tiles. There are a lot of rules for placement with these tiles, and doubtless I'm going to break several of them when I lay out my example map here shortly, but the only advice I can really give to people who are dismayed at this fact is to die mad about it. We're going to put hex tiles over the hex tiles. This mat here has nothing to do with this game or with Warhammer at all. That's kind of disingenuous. It's League of Dungeoneers, which was kind of based on the idea that you should have a game in the absence of Warhammer Quest's 1995 edition, because the other Warhammer Quests just don't fit the bill. It's kind of like we're laying the bones on top of the new age great-grandchild. Neither one of them knows what's going on. The backs of all of the tiles have keywords, giving you the kind of biomes. Lowland, highland, river valley, coastal. Kind of like Dwarf Romantic. You will have edges of a tile, illustrated with various biome, outdoor, terrain features. I don't know why I said outdoor. I'm just reminding you that it exists, I guess. So these will link up quite nicely with other tiles, in any orientation as long as the terrain types are the same. And your overall map will look fairly natural. It would look pretty good. I decided to scrap that, but see how the bodies of water will link up so that you can have rivers. This is pretty thin chipboard, and this is where the remake of this game might be of some interest to you because it's all 3D plastic tiles. They are very paintable, and they are beautiful when they are painted up. But that version of the game is meant to supplement an existing edition of Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I think. It looked like there was a prerequisite of owning something else to be able to play it, and it was really more the expansion to Warhammer, rather than a standalone game. Kind of an injustice to the Mighty Empire's name. Decided to change up the composition of this area. Now we have an island. It's obvious enough, but this sort of taking turns to lay down tiles, as long as you're following the rules of the tile laying system to create the overall map on which we'll play the game, creates a situation in which no two maps will ever be the same. You are building essentially the old world, and it's time for assumption number, are we up to 3 now? I assumed this was just going to be a battle between different human armies. I mean, the cover of the box is a massive battle, but it's hard to look closely and see like different races. In fact, I might have conceded that there were maybe elves somewhere in here. The very eagle-eyed of you will be able to tell me exactly what regiments, what factions, what races are portrayed here. You probably know all of the flags. Actually, isn't this just the Bretonnian flag? Isn't this in Battle Masters? That's the only one that I recognize. But this assumption was happily dashed to bits when I learned that you can play a campaign and you can play your army as any of the races that are in Warhammer, including the undead, the dwarfs, the high elves, wood elves, orcs, and goblins, even Skaven. You even get a way to invent names for your characters and cities. You get tables to just generate your own names. The game can be played as a sort of one-shot. You don't need a prior campaign, a prior game, nothing at all. You can just set this up and start playing. I also really like that the manual mentions you can just make your own tiles, so you can easily invite more people over to play. I feel I have tiled myself into a corner. I'm looking for a pure water tile, and I don't think they exist. This is by no means a complete map, but I am done. Hopefully you don't spot any illegalities here. This was very difficult to get together. It's always a bit of a strange and a bit of a letdown of an unboxing when my components are still on sprue or on sheet because I don't want to take them apart. But we have independent city flags, village, city, and fortress flags, army flags, and ship sail markers. And the reason we have all of that is because these, just like the Battle Masters flags and miniatures, will go on to corresponding miniatures, the same type. Mighty Empires is full of these little army markers. Looks like some of the stickers have come off some of the models, which is fine. For a game of this age, 36 years old as of the time of this video, the plastic is rather flat, but still fine, just fine. Here's what a stickerless miniature looks like, both sides. And yeah, evidently this can represent absolutely any race of army in the kingdom. Our sprues were very sensibly put together, with armies taking up slots on the same sprue as a dragon and models of villages. And I love these little models of the villages. I don't think I can really do them justice at the same time as show you the details on them because of their size and my camera, but hopefully you can get a good look at them. We had ships, as well as these fortresses and cities. These settlement type areas have holes in them in which you can place a flag. We have our separately sculpted and appropriately stickered flags as well. They're literally just pegs. You'll take the sticker of the flag and wrap it around it, then you will affix it to its appropriate mini, making sure not to do so upside down. Pal, now our stronghold is occupied. Right on the sprue, they never even got unsprued. What a weak stronghold, maybe we don't even want to occupy it. Citadel miniatures are known for being highly detailed, and these are no exception. They have packed more details, even where there doesn't need to be any, like this set of stairs going from one tower to another. You can even see the tiling on the roof of the attached building. This was during a time where you could absolutely tell what everything was. Legendary Bardic Broadcast's video on HeroQuest and the abomination versus the gargoyle need not apply here. Or I guess it does apply because you can tell what these are. I don't know if you'd be able to tell what their modern counterparts are. I would like to look at a few ships, and then I would like to place some of the unscrewed elements on the board. Whether or not I do that in a correct and legal fashion is a completely different matter. Because of the way the ships are put together, the sails actually articulate, and I think that's just lovely. That's such a beautiful little accidental, maybe, detail. I would never glue these in place. My tiles seem to have relatively stayed in place on this neoprene mat, so go ahead and place a ship here, even though there's really no way for it to get out to the open sea. It's just going to sail around this little, I don't know the term for that. I guess this would be a great grand river. I would absolutely create water tiles, although I have a feeling that tiles considered outside the board could be considered water tiles anyway. Here are the ship markers correctly placed on the sails in order for you to be able to identify the ships and to whom they belong, to which army. We can't place this on top of my miniatures. We've got a couple of strongholds. We've got a couple of white dots on the board. I guess I could place the stronghold on the white dots. It's probably not where they go at all. Don't worry, we'll get back and look at some of the rules in the rulebook here shortly. We're getting all of these pretty visuals out of the way. Cities. We've got our strongholds. We're going to place our cities a bit far apart though, because they exist apart to take advantage of the resources in their areas. You know, cities can only go where farms go. Farms must make use of what's on the land. What's on the land varies by the biomes, but the natural terraforming of any land actually makes sense, and everything in the world follows very basic patterns in terms of where water is versus where mountains and forests are. If you would get really good at understanding the relationship between these different elements of world building, you can make some really cool maps very, very fast. We have some tokens here: surprise attack, flank attack, counter attack, agent and assassin tokens. We have a hold, very interesting, kind of like stances for a character, but they're probably for an entire army unit. We've looked at pretty much everything that comes in the box, but we do have sheets of tiles unpunched. I can't believe this copy's in near pristine condition. It's like they started to put it together, then they started to punch out some tiles, and they said, you know what, this is not for me. We've got tokens here. We've got 3 different circular tokens. Once again, the Ultramarines, the Blood Angels, and the Imperial Fists. Can't wait to see who I set off with that comment. Alright, it's rulebook time. It is probably the ultimate ambition of every accomplished Warhammer. I already read this. No, I already said this. How did they know what I was going to say? It's like I'm on the exact same wavelength as Robin Hughes? No, Rick Priestley and Nigel Stillman. Great minds think alike. You can get pretty much the gist of how this game is going to be set up and played by looking at the contents. We've got the game set up and the realms. Then we have the campaign season, which consists of subsistence, scouting, movement, battles, sieges, raids, and reorganization. We have an account of ships and war at sea, and then we move into the winter season. Equinox Magic, Winter Quarters, Winter Events, the Dragon Rage, Revenue, Diplomacy, Recruitment, Recovery, Construction, Baggage, Deployment, and Espionage, before moving into Tabletop Battles, which covers 4 pages, and Casualty Recovery. The Campaign World and Campaign Chronicles are covered in the very back, with the Scouting Charts summary located on the back of the rulebook. You'll do quite a bit of rolling in this game to determine different features of the terrain tiles on which you land when you are scouting. If you have a copy of this game and you aren't sure whether or not it is complete, it should contain 1 rulebook, 112 hexagonal map tiles, 15 city models, 45 village models, 15 ships models, 162 territory markers, 45 espionage counters, 76 baggage markers, dice, strategic battle cards, 15 fortress models. I almost said 14 fortress models. 45 army pieces, which are banners, 15 dragon models, 24 raised territory markers, 9 spell markers, and 1 sheet of self-adhesive flags. Briefly, we get descriptions of coastal tiles, as well as a special coastal tile that may double as an alternative river end, which is true. It has 2 spots for river ends. A river valley tile, 3 types of river outlet, a river end, and a swamp. I have the swamp tile. It's just under the board. A lowland tile with wood, a lowland tile with hills, and a plain lowland tile. All 3 types are present on the board that I have built. Tile edges are explained here. Each edge clearly marked or colored with one specific kind of terrain, each type of terrain matching with one of the pack types. Matching tile pack types include highland, highland or lowland, 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 2 different kinds of lowland, river valley, coastal, none, and lowland or river valley. There are 6 tiles marked with a circle indicating the possible positions of players' capital cities. Okay, so we don't do strongholds, we do capital city on these tiles. Having 2 capital cities that close together doesn't feel right, so I've probably broken a rule, but we'll place you here anyway. We'll put 2 strongholds between them, and now each capital city is threatening the other one for capital city supremacy. I guess this could be the capital city of the dwarves since it's nestled in the mountains. As I said, the rules go in depth about how to place tiles and what kind of tiles go where, as well as what you cannot do. You can play Mighty Empires as a self-contained game. There's nothing to stop you beginning immediately. If you intend to use it as the basis for a long-term campaign involving many Warhammer Fantasy Battle games, then you must decide what to do with the map during the weeks or months that the campaign lasts. You must find a way of preserving the map when not in use. The best option is to temporarily stick the map down onto 1 or more large sheets of card. If you can keep the map flat and the counters fixed in place, you can return to the game at any time. You can record the positions of city, fortress, village, army, and other counters before storage. If none of these options proves practical, it will be necessary to make a copy of the map together with the positions of counters so that you can reconstruct it as required. Tile types include barren, village, fortress, or city. This is independent of the biome and edge and color specifications that we barely went over earlier. The realm's army is made up of a number of units that are worth, yes, an amount of points. Once the player has located and populated his realm, it is time to determine its military strength. Military strength is represented by a points value. Many players prefer a system where every realm begins with an equal military strength. This can be easily achieved if players agree on a mutually convenient points value between 3,000 and 5,000. Next up, divide the army into banners. The Empire's army is divided into separate field armies called banners. Banners are placed on specific map tiles to indicate where troops are deployed. Because each banner represents a different body of troops, it is necessary to fix one of the numbered flag sticker sets to each set of banners. This number is used to identify the banner when it is on the map. Place your banners on the map. Place baggage counters. All armies require baggage. Don't worry about how this works right now. All will be explained in the following section. We'll glaze over it just barely. The campaign season is the next step in this manual, page 16 out of 64, and the campaign season is divided into 6 turns, each turn representing 4 weeks or 1 month. During his individual turn, the player works through the sequence given below. Subsistence, in which you calculate subsistence for all banners and pay any deficit with baggage. Scouting, in which a banner may scout an adjacent tile. Movement, in which a banner may move into an adjacent tile it has scouted. Battle. If a banner moves into a tile already occupied by 1 or more enemy banners, there will be a battle. If the enemy retires to a fortress or city, there may be a siege instead. Siege, in which a besieging force resolves any assault or other action. Raise, in which a banner may raise any uncontested tile which it occupies, whether its civilian inhabitants are ostensibly friendly or not. A fortress or city under siege cannot be raised while it remains defended. And reorganization, in which a banner may be split up or combined with other banners in the same tile. baggage redistributed and baggage stockpiles created. Armies require a constant source of supply in the form of food, clothing, arms, and transport. In the game, supplies are represented by the subsistence rules. A player who fails to take note of the effects of these rules will quickly find his armies disappearing, as desertion and starvation take their inevitable toll. Under scouting, when armies move, it is assumed that small detachments are sent ahead to locate settlements, assess forage potential, and ensure the safe passage of the army. This is called during the scouting phase. The player indicates which banners are attempting to scout an adjacent tile. Each banner may attempt to scout only one adjacent tile per turn. It is not permitted for a player to attempt to scout the same tile twice during the same turn. This section includes scouting by a large force, blocking terrain, scouting charts, and scouting unknown tiles. Our scouting charts from the back are repeated here and here. We have a chart for harbors as well, and a scouting event chart. This section includes rules for events, independent settlements, independent empires, scouting a known tile, the scouting flow diagram, which is very useful, and the scout skirmish chart. Under the section for movement, we have examples for how banners may move, which is from tile edge to tile edge, from the beginning of a tile to the beginning of the next tile onto which they are moving. This movement represents crossing a mountain on the destination tile edge. This example displays crossing a mountain range lying across the tile. Finally, this example demonstrates crossing a mountain on the tile edge in order to reach your destination. During the movement part of the turn, a banner may move into an adjacent tile which it has successfully scouted during the scouting phase. Banners never move more than one tile at a time, and may never move into a tile unless it has been successfully scouted during the scouting phase. The sections here include rules for blocking terrain, other terrain, the route rule, moving into battle, and more examples for movement, including a banner entering a tile with a river positioned so that it's clear which side of the river is occupied, mountain ranges that do not block the banner's movement into the tile, example A and example B. I wish I could be like Neo and just absorb all the information from a given gamebook directly into my brain. If I could have a superpower that didn't amount to anything helpful to anybody else, that's what I would do. The ability to instantly absorb board game rules. Like little Vicky from Small Wonder, just flip right through and know everything. Battles are next. When a force moves into a tile occupied by an enemy force, a battle is fought. We have a combat table here with the attacker's strength in points, corresponding to the defender, and whether or not you'll have an advantage, which the highest advantage is a +8 when your attacker's strength in points is in excess of 3,000 versus a defender's of 250 or less. Blocking terrain on the map, battle resolution, random modifiers, defender's options, attacker's options, the battle result, what happens when you're defeated and scattered, a draw or victorious, as well as deducting losses, the character casualty rule, independent settlements, battle or siege, resolving the conflict and results. The next step in the season is sieges. Defender has options, the attacker has options. Our sections here provide rules for being under siege, fortification defense value, siege tactics, such as assault, in which you can be stormed, repulsed, or bloodily repulsed, and battery, starvation, terms of surrender, and booty. And here we have what I assume are orcs attempting to besiege a city and doing so very poorly. This one's getting a morning star across the face. He doesn't appear to have a shield, so I don't know why you used a flail. Style points, I guess. Rule of cool. Our 6th section is for raising. It's very short, and so is reorganization. They share a page. Unheard of. Ships and War at Sea takes up 2 pages. It explains harbors and movement in the water, as well as defended harbors and transporting troops. After the final turn of the campaign season, play ceases for the duration of winter. The winter may be inactive from the point of view of battles, but it is still a busy time for the rulers of the various empires. Gains must be consolidated, fortifications built, armies brought up to strength, and re-equipped. Winter is the time to prepare for the next season's campaigning. It lasts for the equivalent of 6 ordinary campaign turns or 6 months. Whichever comes first, right? That was a joke. During the autumn equinox, autumn spells can be cast. It's so realistic. Banners retire to winter quarters. Roll on the events chart to determine any unexpected occurrences within your empire. Collect revenues due from the empire. Players may consult with each other and make alliances or pacts. Players may attempt to ally with independent realms or plot intrigue against other realms. Prisoners can be ransomed. Fresh troops can be raised and existing units upgraded. Training in the barracks in winter. What a Game of Thrones move. Raised settlements are tested to determine if they recover. Any characters bearing wounds will recover as appropriate. Fortresses or ships can be built. Baggage is brought in preparation for the following season. Banners and their baggage are repositioned in preparation for the new season. Espionage results are worked out, and in the spring equinox, spring spells can be cast. We have a section on equinox magic, equinox spells, spring spells, which include Abundance, Chaos Void, Hold River, Magical Protection, Portents of Terror, Quake, Raise Dead, Rot, Scry, Storm, Summon Host, and Withershins. Withershins. An enchantment is placed upon the tile, affecting any force within it during the campaign season. A force wishing to scout from the tile must determine its direction randomly. Gotcha. Withershins. Your compasses will now be broken. Skidoodly skidoodly, your compasses are duty. The autumn spells include Blight Crop, Deluge, Trail of Howling Doom, Force Magic, Inundation of Blood, Bumper Crop, Prosper, Reign of Madness, Call of Heroes, Break Siege, Shrouding Mists, and Tornado of Peril. Do these maybe seem a bit disproportionate? I cast Shrouding Mists. Well, I cast Inundation of Blood. Below how we have a 2 prefixed to this section as if this is a part 2 of anything. The winter quarters phase does indeed follow section 1, which is the autumn equinox, but there have been so many sections at this point. This covers ships, raised tiles, sieges. The winter events is next, and it has a table. Nice little section in which you just roll and carry out the effects of a table. The Dragon Rage is next, because the Warhammer world is a dark and terrible place, where monsters lurk and danger is ever near, but nothing strikes more fear into the hearts of the inhabitants of the old world than the plagues of dragons which periodically devastate whole regions of the world. This destruction and highly unpredictable event is known as the Dragon Rage. So great, you can have this game that you're planning to play with friends, and you can be all strategic and plan every move and be ready to deploy forces and react to whatever's going on, and then bam, dragons. Interestingly enough, I don't think I see a single dragon on the cover of the Mighty Empire's box, not even in flight in the distance. It would have been the perfect thing to cap off this already a masterpiece. Why couldn't they just plop a dragon up there? We used to be a proper society. Dragons will move. They will breathe fire. Section on revenue explains gathering revenue and how you can spend it. And there is diplomacy, which is one of the more interesting concepts to me. But this is more a phase to solicit the aid of independent empires or enter into agreements with fellow players. Players may make any promises to any or all of their fellows, but are under no obligation to keep them. A written pact is worth no more than a verbal agreement, i.e. nothing, but at least you can show it to other players as evidence of treachery planned or already accomplished. Recruitment is the next phase, and it is a bit of a bigger section. Recovery, construction, baggage, and deployment are very short phases. Espionage details what to do with assassins and spies. We continue to look at beautiful artwork sprinkled throughout the book. We also get sabotage and agents. Finally, we have tabletop battles, the terrain table, and the end of the game. The system given here for determining winners and losers is different from that normally used in Warhammer games and described in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. The normal Warhammer system assumes an equal initial points value. The system given here is therefore more appropriate for campaigns where point values are rarely equal. That's pretty fascinating. Once each side has worked out its total victory points, both players compare their values to determine who has won. If the difference of the two scores is less than 10% of the value of the lower score, the result is a draw. If the difference of the two scores is between 10 and 100% of the value of the lower score, the lower scoring side is defeated. If the difference of the two scores is greater than 100% of the value of the lower score, the lower scoring side is defeated and scattered. The results of battles fought on the tabletop are exactly the same as those fought using the battle resolution system. That's a lot of words. We also have siege, casualty recovery, and the campaign world, which again lays out the wonderful, unique rule set for each of the races, such as dwarfs. We get a little bit of lore, but when making a route roll across mountains, a force of dwarfs adds +1 to its scouting dice roll. A dwarf settlement in a mountain tile will include numerous tunnels and caverns cut into the rock. These enable the dwarves to withstand the most persistent siege. In this situation, defending dwarf casualties sustained as a result of an assault are always halved. Any battery roll made against a dwarf mountain settlement suffers a -2 modifier, so that a roll of 1 to 4 has no effect. A 5 causes only minor damage, +1 assault bonus, and a 6 causes major damage. No dwarf settlement of any kind or in any location can be betrayed as a result of starvation roll unless it includes mercenary or allied banners. No dwarf settlement will surrender as a result of starvation unless the opposing besiegers are also dwarfs. That's just fascinating to me. That's so cool. And again, we have orcs, goblins, skaven, wood elves. You could probably come up with the remaining races, although there aren't many left, and your own rules, or perhaps I should say different factions under those grand alliances. That, in a great big giant nutshell, world-sized, is Mighty Empires. Is this a blast from your past? Did you play it? Did you watch Jordan Sorcery's amazing historical video on it? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need some research on that. Stat. This game came with exactly 2 dice. I wonder if that's how many it was supposed to come with. Warhammer typically comes with like 32 6-sided dice. Like 64, it's nothing for them to have oodles of dice in the box. Just a bunch of bog standard D6s. They always have said you will have D6 and you will be happy with them. They will have standard pips, a number of them between 1 to 6, and you will enjoy this. I probably only used about half of the tiles available, by the way. I 100% can see the appeal of purchasing multiple copies. Oh, we also have a fog bank. That's another tile that I actually did not show you. We've got this island on one side, fog bank on the other with dice roll results or directions. The map we created is not one that you're going to find anywhere on any map of the old world, by the way. Probably quite obviously. Don't even try to look. I don't think I pulled tiles out of this bag. Is it possible to create a pitched battle by attempting to recreate an actual lore-accurate geographical location that is actually a precise approximation? That's a lot of words. I would like to think that it is. Maybe out of the box, but definitely if you have multiple copies. And 100% absolutely definitely if you are just making your own tiles. You could probably take a map of a section of the old world and blow it up and print it out and draw a hex grid over it and then apply the terrain rules so long as you have the hex positioned accurately. I wonder if anybody has done that. Seems like it would be the obvious thing to do, actually. Mighty Empires. Brave heroes and warriors alike, thank you so much for your kind attention to this video. Please let me know if you enjoyed it and if you've played this and what you think about this game. Some memory that you may have of playing it would be greatly appreciated. Those are my favorite comments to read. I will see you in the next exciting siege. Let's go get those high elves next. Until next time, brave heroes, I bid you farewell and onward for now.